So increasingly, Nielsen numbers are not reflecting the true audience of shows, and therefore the networks um, may be losing out because they could be charging more for their advertising time if they actually knew how many people were watching the show. So this has led to something that's never happened before. CBS has not renewed its contract with Nielsen Company, and instead they are looking for other better ways in which to gauge the audience of their programming. This is huge for networks who are really the dinosaurs in this whole thing. And it's amazing Nielsen has continued to have the enormous sway. It's just that it's so built into their business model that they don't know how to change it. But it's really not working for them. And so slowly but surely we're going to see that change. All right. Now we're going to definitely be returning to these topics. But as we're running out of time, let me just get to one last look at a future trend, and then we'll put the rest off until next time. So, the future of the economy. Everybody wants to know. Is the economy going to tank? Is it going to get better? Is it going to stay the same? Are everyday people who are struggling going to eventually get raises? Is wealth inequality going to be tackled? Automation is taking over. So what is going on here? So income inequality is looking like it's deepening. Uh, Automation is rapidly making certain jobs obsolete. Many of them blue collar jobs, but even white collar jobs like stock trading are being replaced with software. This boosts productivity for the employers, but doesn't do much for those workers. Unions are starting to shrink. And the kinds of jobs that are going to be available are changing thanks to this automation. So you have the rise of specialists. That's people who have higher skills or higher education and things that technology can't replace, or at least can't yet replace. Particularly if you have an ability with software engineering, or you have an understanding of of intricate or very detailed financial understandings. If you have that, you can make a good salary. Minimum wage has been stagnant, but there's been a huge move towards changing that in some cities. Here in Washington D.C., by the way, the minimum wage was moved up to $15 an hour. So bravo for them, but in many areas of the country it's not. Taxes, of course, are favoring the rich. So we have a lot to worry about, if you want to worry. But here's what we might see. Just one of the things. is the idea of a universal basic income. What is that, you say? Well, it's the idea that everybody gets a basic income. So, here it is, and then I got a wrap for the show. But within 2 decades, you'll live through the automation revolution, as I've been talking about, where artificial intelligence systems and robots replace large chunks of the labor market, with millions of people being thrown out of work. That's in the next 20 years. In their current state, modern nations and entire economies won't survive this unemployment bubble. They're not designed to do that. That's why in 2 decades you'll also live through a second revolution in the creation of a new kind of welfare system, the universal basic income. The UBI as it's called, is an income granted to all citizens, individually and unconditionally, without a means test or work requirement. It's the government giving you money every month. It's very similar to Social Security benefits. So UBI will have the effect of giving people a guaranteed minimum living standard. That might not be a very high quality standard, depending on what country you're in. You'll never have to worry about having enough money to eat, clothe, or house yourself. The underlying fear of scarcity, of not having enough to survive if you lose your job or get sick, will no longer be a factor in your decision making. This will lead to, or could lead to, a greater sense of well-being and mental health, knowing that you've got this basic income there to support you. So many of the things that we deal with now, levels of stress, anger, depression, envy, all stem from this fear of scarcity. UBI will lessen those. And that would lead to, better health and greater freedom to pursue more rewarding work. It will give you flexibility to take your time as you're looking for work, instead of being pressured to settle for a job because you have rent to pay. You could continue your education on a regular basis to adapt to changes in the labor market. And you could have true financial independence from organizations, individuals, or even an abusive relationship. So, the UBI. Now, how soon will that come? I don't think we'll see it in 2019, but it is something that I'm almost certain you will be hearing about as politicians begin to wind up for their 2020 elections. I think you'll be hearing more about that sort of thing. So, well, we didn't get very far in our discussion of the future, but we did talk about entertainment, and we did talk about the economy. Next week, we'll take a look at things like healthcare, and we'll take a look at education, and we'll take a look at other aspects of your future that you can think about. But for now, I am going to wish you a wonderful new year as it gets started. Many of you coming back from your holidays, trips, time with your families, and wish you an optimistic hopeful experience of new potentials. Have a wonderful week.